Well, greetings, folks. Yeah, it's another What's New. Yeah, well, I'm up there in the garden this morning, and I was pruning away at the black raspberries when all of a sudden I noticed somebody out here in the driveway in a red shirt, and I went, hey, I'll be right over there. No, I hear him calling, well, it's my neighbor. Oh, okay. All right, so I wander over. Well, it's Kahoa, and he's out of water. Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of the water trucks going by. Here in Hawaii, unless you're in one of the towns or unless you're right along the major highways, you really can't gain access to the county's wells. We have some wonderful wells here, very deep, but we don't have a good distribution. The distribution only follows the major roads, and that's it. If you're anywhere out there in the subdivisions, you're out of luck. You're really going to just have to catch water. It's about the only thing you can do with it. See, I know folks who live in the mainland just would go, why don't you just drill a well? Can't. Well, not realistically, anyway. The problem is that because the island is pretty much entirely lava, it's just this big sponge, and every drop of water that hits the surface of the island pretty much eventually makes it all the way down to the bottom of the island, and the only thing here that stops it is the seawater. The seawater is one viscosity and weight, and the freshwater is another, and the freshwater will float on top the seawater at the bottom of the island, very much like oil and vinegar in a salad dressing bottle. Yeah, just think of Hawaii's water supply as being the same as in a bottle of Italian dressing. That's pretty much how it looks. We don't have seams of sand. We don't have gravel seams. We don't have these cracks and fissures that water can run through like you have in the mainland. And so the only way you find water is to drive a pipe all the way down to sea level. Well, here at my house, I'm, 1,680 feet up the side of the mountain. Well, that means my water supply is 1,680 feet down in the ground. And if I go that deep to get it, I'm going to have to use at least probably a 6 to almost 12-inch casing, a big casing, in order to drop a pump in that's big enough to push the water up from that depth. It'd take at least 60 horsepower on a pump to push water up from that far down. It's just completely impractical. And so if you live here in Hawaii and you want water, you either stay in town or somewhere near a main road, or you catch it from the rain. Well, when the rain stops, you really only have two options when the rain stops. One is start hauling it yourself from a tap somewhere, or hire somebody to come and haul it. And I've been watching the trucks. They're big water tank trucks that go up and down the road out here. They've been steady lately, one after another all day long. Everybody back there where there's no water, running out of water, back in Eden Rock and Kapua farm lots, because they're all on catchment. And I understand that it costs about $300 for one of those tanks full of water. I don't know. I have to make the comparison. It cost me around $70 or $80 for 2 months to stay on the county pipe here. Anyway, it's probably cheaper, but you can also haul your own. I don't know if people in California, you're probably familiar with those square poly olive oil containers, food grade containers that they sell over there. They got a metal strapping banding around them, and there's a pallet underneath. Folks in California like to use them to catch winter rain and use it for the garden. So the county has provided taps for the public. They're in most of the towns. I know Pahoa's got a really big area. Keau has a really big area. These places were actually designed so they can bring in those big water trucks and fill them. But they also have small taps for the public, and using those olive oil style containers, you see a lot of them here. People will go down and fill up their own in their pickup trucks. I think a lot of these guys just leave those things strapped right in the back of their truck, and on the way home every day, they probably fill it up at the taps, take it home, pump it out. It is free. I mean, it's a pain, you got to haul it, but they let you have the water for nothing. That's the only free water anywhere around here. Otherwise, if you got a pipe, you got to pay for it. Yeah, so that's been new. The neighbor pulled up and he had a whole bunch of brand new clean 5-gallon poly pails he just bought in the back of his car with the lids, because they can't even flush the toilet. Yeah, that's mostly what he wanted it for. He's going to take my water and waste it flushing the toilet, but whatever. Yeah, they've run out completely. There just isn't enough rain coming down from the sky to cover people's catchment needs. This happens frequently. And so if you're thinking about living here and you're thinking about living way back and off the grid where you're away from, the electrical wires and the pipes and the cables and all that stuff, well, bear in mind, periodically, you're going to go through heck trying to keep enough water around to drink. This happens. I am so happy that we're close enough to a highway here. I was able to push a pipe. Yeah, we didn't have plumbing on this road. I was just close enough to the main road, 0.2 of a mile, that I went ahead and spent the money to have a pipe laid all the way in here to the house on my expense. And it's well been worth it. Oh, it's wonderful when it gets dry like this. Well, the other thing I've noticed a lot of moving up and down the road these days, and that's dozers, soil rippers, excavators, and loads and loads and loads of rock and cinder. I'm seeing the Sanford cinder guys going by with those big trucks, one after another. It implies there is a lot of development going on back in either Eden Rock or Kapua farm lots or both. That is the only road to get into those two subdivisions comes by my house, so I get to count, how many building projects are going on, how many carpenters are coming in and out, how much wood they're carrying, and so on. Yeah, so that's there's a lot of development going on here. I guess the crazy weather in the mainland, and probably with some of the insane leadership too in the mainland, is causing people to come this way. I'm not looking forward to the crowds. On the other hand, people who develop lots, plant trees, plant flowers, I sell flowers, I sell trees. So I suppose this is all good for my business. The best place a nursery can be ever be set up is right next to where there's a lot of development going on. Yeah, that's where you're going to make your money. After they get the yard all planted out, they might buy a bush from you once a year, twice a year, buy some new flowers every now and then. But the guys with the empty lots, they're going to plant everything. And so that's good business. Then there apparently is some sort of a social demographic change definitely going on around here. Folks who've been around the channel for a while and have listened to me talk about buying real estate here, I will usually dissuade you from purchasing in certain areas. And Eden Rock back here, the subdivision, for instance, is one of the areas where historically I've told people, hey, don't mess with it. It doesn't have a good reputation. Well, people don't listen, or they don't notice, or they don't talk to me. Who knows, But there was a time when most of the traffic flowing in and out of Eden Rock was either slightly rusty, dented Honda sedans with dogs hanging out of the windows, or they were muddy Toyota four-wheel drive pickup trucks with flotation tires and pig traps in the back, maybe the kids riding between them. That's what it used to be, a lot of, coming in and out of the road here. It's changing. We still see the dirty Toyota four-wheelers with the pig traps. and I still see the beat-up Hondas coming by. Half of them dropped dead right in front of my house. But I am now seeing Mercedes-Benz coming in and out, and recent models. Mercedes SUVs, Mercedes coupes. I'm seeing BMWs, BMW sedans, BMW SUVs. I'm seeing Teslas, quite a few Teslas flowing in and out. Dodge Vipers, that one blew my mind. The roads are terrible back there. I cannot imagine trying to drive something like a Dodge Viper in and out of that subdivision. But then yesterday, that was it. When I saw a Porsche Boxster, I'd never seen this one before. Porsche Boxster heading in, going for Kapua Farm Lots or Eden Rock, one or the other. Somebody back there, and it's a relatively recent Boxster. And of course, those are very low riding, road hugging automobiles with excellent handling characteristics. Boxsters are top of the list there, but they're not made for off-road work like Kapua Farm Lots, man. I don't know what these guys are doing. I imagine the guys with the Vipers and the Boxsters must have lots right in the front of the subdivision someplace where they don't have to deal with all the cruddy, broke-up roads. But it's a change in demographic. Man, I tell you, there's no way we would ever see a Porsche Boxster coming in and out of there 10 years ago. Not unless somebody stole it. Yeah, so that's been different. Kevin and I just finished harvesting off the last of the Roselle. Usually the Roselle would have been in right around Thanksgiving. We'd have brought it all in, but it's been so dry that I haven't had any real problems with it rotting or molding. It will often start to get moldy, and it'll ruin the whole thing. But no, they just hung out there and dried. The only issue was the birds were starting to eat the seeds out of the capsules, and so I got it all out today. We put it aside over here, and then we pulled up the fence posts and the fencing and all that BS, and going through cutting the stalks down, and we'll clean up that general area, put more weed block down on top, but kill it off. We moved weed block around over here this morning, found one big old patch there that looks almost big enough to hold most of my cabbage and most of my romaine lettuce. And I have a crop out here in the nursery, probably maybe a week off, waiting to go out there. And so we prepared a spot. I'm going to have to come up with some compost, and I am out of fertilizer too, so I'm going to do that. Materials, always materials, Yeah, but we're moving right along. I'm getting ready. Cabbage is a very important crop over here for us. Yeah, they hold in the field well. They don't go bad quickly, so you can set them for a bit. Once they're cut, if they're good shape and clean, you put them away in plastic bags in the refrigerator, and you get a cabbage to last for months. This is another reason I love them. They're highly nutritious. They got most of the stuff that we eat green vegetables for in the one vegetable. They're very high yielding. The cabbage is hard and heavy. You get a good sized one. There's a lot of food in there. It tends to be the most popular vegetable in Hawaii. I know you wouldn't bet on it, would you? But it is. They use it everywhere. It's ubiquitous. If for no other reason, they like katsu here, chicken katsu, pork katsu, dung katsu. They fry all this stuff. They fried fish, They take it all, they put it on a bed of shredded cabbage so the grease drips through in the carry-out container so you don't pick up your fish and so you get a puddle of grease. Instead, it's sitting on a pile of cabbage. They use it that way. They put it under most of the salads. I always thought that macaroni salad, that has been one of the most disgusting things at a picnic on the 4th of July, in the Midwest. No. But wow, when I got here to Hawaii, I found out that, macaroni salad here it's an art form. Yeah, they have people over here, man, that, It's usually potato mac to begin with. It's a 50-50, kind of a half potato, half mac salad. But some of the folks around here know how to make that stuff. Oh, man. I know the secret recipe over at Monago Hotel here is you use the tuna fish with oil in the can, and you dump the whole thing in, oil and all, into the batch when you're making it. That's the secret ingredient. Anyway, stuff's real good, and almost every time you see it, it comes to your table, again, on a bed of shredded cabbage. Most of us usually eat the mac salad, then eat the cabbage underneath, too. So cabbage is very important in my garden, very important in my diet here. I get lazy. I could grow 100 different types of vegetables out here and have a little of this and a little of that, but I get lazy sometimes. And I tell you, I have my days where if I can find one vegetable that suits all of my needs, I just grow it, Well, cabbage comes kind of close. Cabbage, green beans, onions, tomatoes, sweet potatoes. You're covered pretty well if you got those in the garden. Get some herbs around, man, oh man, it's heaven. All right, so there we go, folks. I hear Kevin out there with the weed whacker, so he apparently has cleaned up all the roselle and he's taken the weeds down. Y'all hang loose.